Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I've done this video about 100 times now, and so hopefully I can get it right this time, but I'm really just going to kind of jump into it. So the other day I saw the segment of a sermon. I'm going to do my best to reiterate it to you guys, and then add a little bit onto it. And so the scripture that was used came from Matthew 22. It's Matthew 22, 15 through 22. And it reads, "And the Pharisees went out and laid plans to trap him in his words. They sent their disciples to him along with the Herodians. 'Teacher,' they said, 'we know that you are a man of integrity and that you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. You aren't swayed by others because you pay no attention to who they are. Tell us then, what is your opinion? Is it right to pay the imperial tax to Caesar or not?' But Jesus, knowing their evil intent, said, 'You hypocrites, why are you trying to trap me? Show me the coin used for paying the tax.' They brought him a denarius, and he asked them, 'Whose image is this and whose inscription?' 'Caesar's,' they said. And he said to them, 'So give back to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's.' When they heard this, they were amazed, so they left him and went away." And so right at the very end, Jesus says, "So give back to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's." And they should have asked one more question after that, and they should have said, "What is God's?" Because they just figured out what is Caesar's. And just like our currency, like this quarter, most of our currency has an important American figure on it. And when we pay our taxes, we are giving back to the government what is the government's. So they figured that out, that it's Caesar's because it's got Caesar's image on it. So again, they should have asked, so then what is God's? We are God's. I think Jesus would have said something along the lines of, You are God's. And they've probably been like, what do you mean by that? Each and every one of us has been imprinted with God's image. We are created in God's image, and that makes us God's. And there's a purpose, there's a reason behind why He created us in our image. And so, really quickly, you turn to Romans 12:1. And it says, "Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship." And so we see that Romans 12:1 kind of confirms that we are God's and made in His image, because we need to offer ourselves back to Him. We give ourselves back to God because we are God's. Because again, we are imprinted with His image. He created us in His image, so that everyone would know that we are His. But how do we reflect that image? So if you turn to Matthew 5:14 through 16, it says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." So when we reflect God's image, we shine our light. We are the light of the world. And in the last video I did, I talked about God being love, and you can't love the world and love God at the same time. You have to love one or the other. And so when we love God and we show the same love that God gives us, we are that light, and we are shining to everyone, and we are in fact reflecting the image that God has imprinted on us, and that is the image of God. We don't want to reflect the image of the world, or the image of Satan, or the image of social media, or the image of sin, or anything like that. We want to reflect the image of God, and to do that, we must show people the same love that God shows us. And when we do that, we reflect His image. And you read the very end of that verse, and it says, Matthew 5:16, "In the same way, let your light shine before others, and they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." When people see our light shining, and they see our good deeds, and they in fact see the reflection that is ingrained in us, that image of God, what do? They also glorify our Father in heaven. So really quickly, you read Matthew 28. Matthew 28, 18 through 20, and it says, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations." All nations, that's everyone, every single person. Not just people in America, not just people in McKinsey or people in Canada or in Europe or in Africa or in Asia, anywhere. Anywhere, not just one particular group, but all groups. Go make disciples of all nations. And the best way to do that is by reflecting God's image, by showing the same love God shows to us, to everyone. Not picking and choosing among your friends or peer groups. Be like, I don't really like this person, so whatever. This person's alright, but whatever. Every single person has ingrained in them the image of God because we are God's. So, I'm going to try to tie this all together because I kind of bounce back and forth. So, we are created in God's image. And how do we reflect that image? By showing the same love that God shows to us, to others, by being the light of the world, being the light in the room to shine to everyone, not just certain people we pick and choose, to everyone. And that is holy and satisfying and pleasing to God. Because when we reflect the image of God, we bring people closer to God because they see God in us, and they see that and they want that too. They want that mercy and love and that joy we get from Him, the grace, the peace, everything. They want that too. And when they see it reflecting off us and onto them, then they also understand that they are God's and they also have the image of God imprinted on them, and then they will give back to God what is God's, and that is themselves. So, we must show that love. We must show that reflection to others. And one of the things I talked about in the last video I did, was bad company corrupting good morals. But you can flip that verse and say good morals can also corrupt that bad company. When we are the light of the world, when we hang around the right people who influence us and improve us and make us do better and make us love others, and when we start loving others, that bad company also sees that, and they also want to change because they see God's reflection on us, and God's image and His reflection and His love and His mercy and His grace is just about irresistible. Because once you get a little piece of it, once you get a little piece, all you want is more. All you want is more of God. Because He drives us to be better. He drives us to love, and He drives us to be better people, and He convicts our hearts and makes us want to be the best person we can possibly be for Him, and so that others as well with us can also experience the same thing and have the same love from God. And so, are you going to reflect God's image or the world's image? Are you going to bring people to the world, or are you going to bring people to God? And that's really all I have for y'all. I love y'all. Please be safe, stay healthy, and again, June 7th. Hopefully that's the day. Love y'all. Thank y'all.